I'm Shannon, and today I'm going to introduce a safe haven currency, which is Swiss franc. And first, I'm going to give a brief introduction, and then I'm going to discuss something about Swiss macroeconomy, since it does lots of since it's the main reason that why Swiss franc is a safe haven currency. And then I'm going to talk about the impact on being a safe haven currency. And last, I'm going to give some advice to the investors. So first, I'm going to give an introduction. So Switzerland is seen as the safest place in the world due to its neutral position and a strictly safe banking system. And in addition, it has a large current account balance, and this feature causes Swiss franc to become a safe haven currency, and the demand increases when the global market is unstable. However, being a popular safe haven currency might influence the currency policy to some extent due to the strong appreciation of Swiss franc. And the most popular one should be the exchange rate peg of Swiss franc and euro in 2011, and then scrap the peg in 2015. This policy causes huge shock in the currency markets, and another famous influence in currency policy is that Swiss franc being labeled as a currency manipulator by US in 2020, which is also due to the feature of strong appreciation. And this accusation also brought some fluctuation in the exchange rate market. And from these special events, we can learn that the safe haven currency feature might affect the Swiss franc currency policy and also influence the global currency market. And so I'm going to first discuss the Swiss macroeconomy. And the first one is Switzerland is the safest place in the world. So Switzerland is a neutral country, and also it has a strict Swiss banking secrecy offers the individual right to the privacy, and the bank lend confidentially is equivalent to that of doctors or lawyers. So these cause Switzerland being seen as the safest place in the world. And the second feature of macroeconomy is that they always maintain the current account surplus. And it's because there is conservative fiscal policy in Switzerland, which regards reducing debt as the first priority. And also the low corporate tax rate in Switzerland builds a competitive market, which attracts many multinational corporations, especially the high value-added industries. And the third feature is that they have a negative interest rate. So in 2014, the European Central Bank introduced a negative interest rate policy to improve the recession from the debt crisis. And so countries near Europe, which includes Switzerland, should also implement the NIRP to prevent the domestic currency from excessive appreciation. And the Swiss government has remained the NIRP until now to prevent an excessive appreciation of the Swiss franc. So these these macroeconomy features make Swiss franc a safe haven currency, and it does have some impact on the future. So it caused the Swiss franc to become a strong, often has a trend of strong appreciation, because people tend to place their money in Switzerland to reduce risk while the global market is unstable. But this might cause Swiss franc facing excessive appreciation, which makes Swiss exports more expensive. And to prevent the bad performance of exports, the government would intervene the Swiss franc currency by adjusting currency policy. And then I'm going to introduce some historical events that is related to the currency policy. The first one is the exchange rate peg of Swiss franc and euro. So in 2011, the Swiss National Bank announced that pegged the Swiss franc to a target value of 1.2 Swiss franc per euro to avoid excessive appreciation from the European debt crisis. However, Switzerland scrapped the peg in 2015 due to the high cost of maintaining peg price, which brought huge fluctuation in both exchange market and stock market. Swiss franc appreciated almost 30% to the euro, and while the Swiss stock market dropped 9% at the day when they announced the unpacked. And the next event is that US labels Switzerland as currency manipulator. So in December of 2020, Switzerland was labeled as currency manipulator by US due to the surging country's trade surplus with US and also intervention in currency markets amounting to 14% of the country's economic output. And countries being accused as currency manipulator might get trade sanctions from the US. So after the report from US was published, in fact, the accusation didn't react on the exchange market promptly, but Swiss franc indeed appreciated to the US dollar in a few months. So due to these uh, due to these currency policy, there might be some advice to the investors. So due to the safe environment in Switzerland, people could choose to hold Swiss franc as a safe haven currency. And also, in addition, from the historical event, we can learn that the Swiss government would take actions to the strong Swiss franc appreciation from the feature of safe haven currency. So as a result, investors could also choose to trade Swiss franc in the exchange market, and investors should follow the global trend, which might directly affect Swiss franc through the risk aversion or indirectly influence Swiss franc through the currency policy. So to conclude, the feature of safe haven currency causes people tend to be interested in Swiss franc while the global market is unstable. However, it also makes Swiss franc a strong appreciation currency. So to prevent it from getting too strong, the government would make relevant currency policies, which might cause fluctuation in the exchange market. So investors should still pay attention to the revised currency power due to the global issues. So this is my report. Thank you.
Great. So thank you very much. I think so. Here's another really interesting financial topic, which I believe that maybe some of you may already possess some knowledge of. Okay, so now I would like to again maybe invite a few questions and comments. Again, so to speak, you just need to turn the mic. Okay, so maybe so Shannon, so maybe you could also tell us. I think since you just a section in your BR, you actually you offer advice to investors. As we know, so now the U.S. is officially in the recession, and it seems that global economy is going to have a crash in the next few months. So do you think that so do you think that Swiss France will be a great choice for people who like to shelter their wealth?
Yes, since I think that Swiss franc is always being a safe haven currency, so that when the global market becomes unstable, people could always uh, put could always um, do pay more attention on the Swiss franc, so that maybe they could avert their risk. Yes.
Okay, so do you think that so Swiss franc is still a better choice than US dollar?
For investors with the um, for investors with adverse risk, maybe with risk averse, I think that Swiss franc would be a good choice since that it would be more stable.
Mm,
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so thank you for the answer. Okay, so do you have another question or comments? We can maybe have one more question or comment. Okay, so then if not, let's give our presenter a big hand. So thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you, Shannon.